Hi, welcome to today's Talk of the Town. I'm Sandy Benson. Beginning February 17th at the Ulmer Auditorium, the May River Theater presents the production of the popular comedy Boeing, Boeing. Here to tell us more, David Southern and J.T. Chin. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you on the show. So, what is the premise of the play?
Well, the show is about a man who has 3 fiancées. He's an architect living in Paris. And what he does is he gathers flight attendants from each airline, and they all have corresponding time travels in and out. According to their schedules, then he knows one's leaving, one's arriving, and so the idea is that none of them are there at the same time. JT plays the bachelor who has all these women in his harem, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, in a comedy, things do not go well.
Right.
The planes get faster, hence the title Boeing, Boeing. So the planes start to arrive quicker, weather gets bad, the girls all start arriving. So with that, hilarity ensues. Right, JT?
Yes.
So, what is the brief history of the play and the movie that it inspired, done by Tony Curtis and Jerry Lewis?
Well, back in the 60s, this play was done back early 60s by a French writer. So it was started then. The Hollywood got wind of it because it's very popular in Europe. And so they got wind of it. They started to produce it. Jerry Lewis, Tony Curtis, and in the play, it was a lot of it took place in the airport because it was Boeing, Boeing. So
Right.
people knew, oh, it's the airplane, and so they did a lot of it in the terminal shoot. Whereas in the show, everything takes place in Bernard's apartment. So the idea is that they're all on these Boeings, but they arrive in their different flight attendants' outfits.
And so, what are the biggest challenges in putting a show like this together?
It's just it's such a fast play. I mean,
Yep.
it's just fast. Everything's fast.
Yep.
The timing has to be perfect because it's a farce,
Yep.
and it's like one of my favorite types of comedies
Yep.
to do. I love farce because the audience just has such a great time. I mean, I've done farces where they're literally rolling in the aisles, and
Yeah.
we hope to make them roll
Yeah,
in
well,
the
yeah.
aisles.
So, when you say farce, so how's a farce different than other comedy productions?
It's just heightened.
Okay.
You know, the physicalness of the comedy just goes way up.
Okay.
So it's almost like they describe this play as a bit of Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd, and Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's very physical, and in order to emulate them, everything's just bigger.
Absolutely.
And this play won the Tony Award in 2008
Okay.
for Best Revival of a Play.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where it's
Yeah, some of the big
going.
A-listers on movie actors and everything were in this show on Broadway. And the nice thing about when people go to a comedy, a lot of times a Neil Simon comedy, a lot of people think about, a lot of it's intellectual comedy, I would say.
Right.
The comedy comes from the language and from the movement and from the situation. Where a farce comes from the action.
Okay.
You have a lot of quick dialogue, and this one, doors are slamming, one comes in, one comes out, and like you said, it's all timing. So you can't really get a handle. And the audience knows, and even though they see the situation, they're in on it, they still are amused by what's everything happening.
So, JT, what are some of the challenges that the actors face?
The challenges are just to be able to hit those moments and go through those doors and hit your moments. And I mean, I would say the challenge for me is I'm a guy who's very much a philanderer. I mean, I'm dating 3 women and they don't know about each other, so I have to find the place where, is he a good guy? Well, or is he a bad guy? So you got to ride that line, and you got to make the audience like you because you're doing something, but it's for comedy's sake. So,
Right.
Yeah, and that's why I told him as a director, I say, okay, I was telling him last night, I said, look, we want to see, the audience wants to like you. We want them to like you as a person, and the girls all have to like him. So you have to establish that from the outset in this show. And so that's really where the comedy comes in, him taking that
Right.
and letting all these people and the audience like him, not realizing that he has 3 women who are all fiancés. So
That
it's
is
very
going to
funny.
be that is going to
Yeah.
be very funny. So quickly, because we only have a few seconds left, please tell us when the play is, where the play is,
Right.
and how people get tickets.
We online right now, starting next week. Box office open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 2. Called the May River Theater Box Office. Show starts on the 17th, runs 3 weekends. Friday, Saturday 8, Sunday at 3 matinees on each of those weekends.
Wonderful. Thank you for bringing this comedy to town.
You bet. We
Thank you
enjoyed
very
it.
much.
And we'll be right back with Talk of the Town.